Please keep watching Global Conference TV.
Please keep watching Global Conference Television.
You are watching Global Conference Television.
Changing the world
one inspired
and transformed person at a time.
Hi, it's Billy Silikana from Global Conference Television. I'm here at the Wonders Lab, and this morning we're coming to witness one of the greatest launches from a man who consistently produces some great material. Douglas Kruger is launching his book today. It speaks about you stop using PowerPoint and being a great storyteller. So it's all about saying PowerPoint is history, now we're really going the authentic way of presenting and touching and transforming people's lives. It's going to be an amazing book. It's going to be an amazing audience. I know we are going to enjoy the launch of this book today.
In the early 90s, the Russian and American troops were on joint maneuvers in Bosnia. Now, these are two groups that don't traditionally get along very well. And there they've been sort of as amiable as you could possibly hope to be, doing their joint maneuvers, and they get to a planning and strategy session. They sit down together and the American troops launch PowerPoint. It takes 3 minutes for it to boot up. And then they start designing their first slide. The Russians stand staring at this. And as time goes by and they start designing slide after slide, the Russian scratches his head and says, you know what, if we ever go to war, while you're designing your PowerPoint slides, we're going to be killing you. Folks, PowerPoint started off as a very good idea. The idea was to be able to easily show ideas and make them come alive for your audiences. But unfortunately, through overuse and abuse, it's become passé. In fact, it is now so overused that when I speak at conferences, I often hear other speakers say, I won't be using PowerPoint today, and they get applause for it. People are so over PowerPointed, it's just not funny. One survey said that PowerPoint is used 350 times every 3 seconds around the globe. So folks, what are the options in terms of speaking without slides? I'd like to share just a few of those with you. They're broadly divided into 2 sections. The first one is styles that replace the need for PowerPoint. And the second one is devices or visual aids that you can use instead of slides. Is simply this: use one strong message only. Can you think of an example of a famous speech, perhaps even a fairly recent one, that realistically only had one strong message, a theme, repeated over and over? How about I have a dream, one of the most powerful speeches of the last century? Or perhaps rising to power in the United States, Yes, We Can, by Barack Obama. Now there again, a presentation delivered entirely without slides. Barack Obama tends to speak using an auto cue in front of him. That's how he remembers his words. The art then is making it come alive and making it look as though you're delivering it spontaneously. But one strong message and one strong message only. But realistically, the idea is, if you know how to speak in public, if you know how to use your voice, use pauses, use body language, if you know how to take a simple idea and make it come alive for people, there is really no need for slides. Use point story application, tell stories, use metaphors, contrast your idea with its opposite, make things come alive for people. Don't do information dumps and bury them in data. Take them on a mental journey. One of the downsides, in fact, to PowerPoint is that it actually undermines a rhythm that we use to persuade and convince people. Consider for a second, if you don't know where I'm going with a point, and I'm building something, you'll stay with me because you're curious to know where it will go. But if I have the point resolved on the screen behind me, you already get it before I've delivered it. Now there's an unnatural rhythm going on there. I'm starting to build a point, but you've got it, so for a second you tune out and you wait for me to get to the next thing. And it becomes the staccato rhythm of delivery of, I've got it and I wait, and I've got it and I wait. However, if you do the opposite, you build your point gradually, you hold your audience with you. It's easy enough to do. Some of the benefits of not using PowerPoint: you stop yourself hemorrhaging time. You can put time into thinking about how to persuade rather than time into designing slides. You also simplify your life. We often think that walking to the front of the room and having slides behind us makes our job easier. I think it adds logistics, and in fact it adds another skill set. How often have you turned around to your PC, clicked the button to play a video, and nothing happens? It gets rid of stress. It also changes your level of agility. If you're about to say something that the presenter before you has just covered, and it's in your slides, boy, it's written in stone. But if you don't have slides, you simply drop it and edit on the fly. It's amazing how much more agile you can be. The difference between speaking with slides and speaking without them is like the difference between playing chopsticks part by part versus Mozart. The agility of the tongue is still superior to visual aids. There are divisions of NASA that have started banning PowerPoint. And their reasoning is this. They say when you force information through the structure of a slide, it's not wrong, but it changes the internal language of the information, and it can actually be misguiding. They've had some significant disasters as a result of that. Free-form language, they reckon, is still the more powerful, still the more persuasive form.
It's how to make your point without PowerPoint. Such an important message for everybody today, whether you're in business or whether you're a professional speaker. We all need to be using less PowerPoint, using the power of our words to get our message across. And it was just such a good reminder not to get lost behind the slides.
I very much enjoyed the speech today. The speech itself was a testament to the fact that people could speak very easily without PowerPoint and without slides. And the speech within a speech.
Douglas Kruger and I go back many years to when he was a Toastmaster and first joined the Professional Speakers Association of Southern Africa. And I've watched how Douglas has just absolutely moved rocks and mountains in the speaking industry with his insights, with his amazing presentations. And there's just always so much to learn from Douglas.
Hi there, my name is Vanessa Kruger. I'm the wife of the fabulous author Douglas Kruger. And I think this book is fabulous. I mean, obviously I have to say so because he is my husband. But I also think that this book is something that people need to read. I think it's something that corporates desperately need to look at because the presentations are really killing the core message that we're trying to bring across. And I think if I added anything to the book, it's probably because of the bad presentations that I've had to listen to. And I know the need for this sort of thing. So yes, incredibly proud of him, incredibly proud of the book, and I wish him definitely nothing but the best.
Douglas and I also have a meeting of the minds over positioning yourself as an expert in your own industry. He's one of the go-to people in his industry, as I am in the parenting and the talent arena. And what he says, whether it's to do with talent or speaking or being innovative, is just always so relevant and up to date. So he keeps the mind ticking. He keeps us thinking of new ways to put our point forward with or without PowerPoint.
Douglas, what a beautiful book and what a great presentation.
Well, thank you so much, Billy. Good, and yourself?
Lovely. Now, you've written 5 books. You speak all over the world. I mean, what inspires you to produce so much content?
Well, I try and keep myself out of mischief. But yes, I absolutely believe that to be an expert in any industry, you have to be producing. It's not good enough to have one accolade that you try and play on for years and years. And I also believe that as an aspiring expert in any industry, we need to be giving away content as well. So the more thought you're putting out into the universe, the more good you're doing. And the other is, I believe we should be giving new ideas into the world that we want to be a part of. So on the one hand, you keep yourself relevant by producing all of the time, and on the other hand, it's the right thing to do if you want to be a thought leader, to be guiding people along. I believe that experts exist at the intersection of 3 qualities. And the first one is the one that most people generally think of, but they stop there, and that's the problem. The first one is knowledge. Now, knowledge is good, you've got to have it, but it's not enough, it's not sufficient in and of itself. To that, we have to add personality and publicity. And I think that's the thing that most people miss. There is a degree of theatre, there is a degree of showmanship to being a top-name expert in your industry.
So, Douglas, what you're saying, we're basically in showbiz. There are a lot of people who are very knowledgeable. They lack the personality because they didn't work hard, and they're not going out there in the market for people to know them.
Absolutely.
So you might be a smart guy who's got 5 degrees, who's very knowledgeable, But if you don't have personality and you don't put yourself out there, nobody knows about you.
Yeah, I believe that if you have all the knowledge but no personality in the mix, you are at best going to be seen as a specialist in your industry and remunerated at a certain set level.
Absolutely.
It's the people whose faces we know and whose story and narrative we follow. And I think that's an incredibly critical part.
This was an amazing launch. You've had the man himself. He's an absolute orator. The way that he speaks, you can see that the book tells the story the way that he tells it. This is Billy Selekana from Global Conference Television, changing the world one inspired and transformed person at a time.
You are watching Global Conference Television.
Changing the world, one inspired
and transformed person at a time.